Today we have a very interesting strategy made up of two indicators. This is for you. Absolutely anyone can repeat it, especially beginners. Let me not keep you waiting. Let's get to the video. So let's get started today. The strategy consists of two indicators, the ADX indicator and the moving average indicator, with market settings. We have 30-second Japanese candlesticks and the trade duration is 1 minute. Let's start trading, and I'll show you in practice how to work with this strategy and these indicators. So here's our first entry point. We'll open a trade for a decrease. Let me explain how this strategy works. As you can see, we have the ADX indicator and there are two lines, red and green. As you can see, right now the red line is crossing the green one from below to above, so that's our first signal. This is a signal for a trade to go down. Now let's look at the moving average. As you can see, the price is below the moving average, so the moving average is here. And this is our second signal that we need to open a trade to go down. So look, everything here is very simple. You see that one of the lines crosses the other from below to above. For example, right now our red line crossed the green one from below to above, and the price was below the moving average. So this is our signal to open a trade to go down. Let's wait until the trade closes. Our trade closed successfully, and now let's immediately look at a situation where we would open a trade to go up. For example, we see here that the green line crossed the red one from below to above, so that's our first signal. 3 trades to go up, and the price was above the moving average. So that's the second signal that you need to open a trade to go up. It's all very simple and easy. And so here's our entry for a trade to go down. Let's break down this situation. The red line crossed the green one from below to above. Here's our first signal, and the price was below the moving averages. So that's our second signal. This means we need to open a trade to go down. Also guys, the settings for these two indicators, you'll find them in our Telegram channel. I'll post them after this video comes out. There you'll find not only the settings for these two indicators, but also a bunch of other strategies. There are also just a lot of interesting things in the world here. Our students also share relevant currency pairs for trading. By the way, we're posting those today as well, so subscribe. The link is in the description. And our trade closes successfully. Plus, here's another entry point. Let's open a trade to go down, and I'll explain in detail why we opened a trade to go down here. As you can see, our red line, the DEX line, crossed the green one from below upwards. So that's our first signal, which could indicate a drop in price. The price was also below the moving average, which is a second signal for a downward trade, guys. Let's also go over situations right away where you should skip a particular currency pair. I didn't have to look far for an example with this strategy. Here we have the situation. As you can see, the lines were crossing over each other right here. So we had a signal to go up, then a signal to go down, and then again to go down, all within about 2, 3, or 4 minutes. And when you see situations like this in the market, you should skip that currency pair because you won't get any proper signal here. This trade closed successfully, by the way, while I was explaining, but you still won't get anything really good or solid on this currency pair. You'll just end up with a loss, so if you see this kind of situation in the market, don't hesitate to skip that currency pair. Look for setups on other currency pairs. By the way, a really good situation is when one line has just crossed another line from below upwards. So if that's what the line is showing you, for example, if the red line crosses the green one from below upwards, you can confidently open a trade for a downward move right away. But if the price is still below the moving average, if these two factors are combined, if you see that the red line has crossed the green one from below upwards and is still below the moving average, you can immediately open a position. For a downward move, this is almost a guaranteed way to close the trade successfully. Plus guys, as I said about the previous trade, let's open a trade for a downward move. As you can see, our red line crossed the green ADX line just recently. Also, it's below the moving average, which gives us a very strong entry point for a downward trade. Also guys, as you can see, we have an orange line on the ADX. You might ask, why do we need it? I'll tell you, it's absolutely unnecessary. It doesn't give any signals, it won't help you at all. You just trade using the two lines, the red and the green, and the moving average. And I want to remind you that you'll find the settings for these two indicators on our Telegram channel. Let me remind you that I will post the settings after this video is released. Subscribe and find the settings for these two indicators here. The link will be in the description. And the trade closed successfully in profit, and let's all modestly note that the last trade was an upward one. Let's explain everything. Why, when the green line crosses above and the red line crosses from below upwards? In the same way, at the moment the trade was opened, the price was slightly above the moving average. So we have two signals for these upward trades. Here's one, and at 8, so basically that's how we trade. From this DX, we get a signal on the third trade. For an upward or downward move in the moving average, we simply confirm this signal from the DX. And our trade closes successfully. Plus guys, one more thing, how to wrap this up. Let me tell you about one interesting trick that you might find really cool. It's when the DX lines either expand or contract. So if you happen to notice that our wide lines start to contract, that's actually giving us some kind of important signal to pay attention to. For example, here we would have a signal to look for a trade to go down, so that's an extra confirmation for us. This means the signal will be really strong, because if the lines diverge and then converge, it means you're not getting false signals. When the lines are very far apart and not close to each other, for example right here, do you see how wide they are? So that means the bands aren't narrowing, they're very small here. And guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up. As you can see, today we successfully closed 5 trades in profit using these two indicators and this strategy. As you can see, it's effective and, most importantly, very easy to repeat. Absolutely anyone can do it, especially beginners. And just a reminder, the settings for these two indicators will be available on our Telegram channel after this video is released. Subscribe so you don't miss the settings for these two indicators. That's all for now. I'm going to wrap up. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.